Hi, today I'm joined with Mads Singers, and today's episode is about why scaling staff is so difficult for many businesses.
Yep. And scaling staff can be difficult, right? Reality is that running a business, scaling a business ain't easy. But as you and I have both done it a bunch of times, there's a bunch of traps that you can fall in for sure. From a management standpoint, the biggest thing I see is I see there's kind of three layers. So when you're going through growth, there's kind of three-step ladder, right? So there's the first step, which is going from being you individually managing everything. So as a human, you can hire five, six, seven, maybe eight people, and they can all report to you. But at some point, there's no return, right? Like every time you hire a new person, you just get busier. And that's a very difficult step to get over because you really need to learn to delegate and give ownership and responsibility. Then there's the next step, which is typically somewhere between 25 to 30 people. And in that step, what happens is you need to learn to communicate through a team of managers and get them to execute. And again, this is hyper focused on management skills more than anything, right? So you need to learn to become a great manager. And then the third step that I see, which is typically around 50 to 60 people, is when people have to start managing through multiple layers. So, as a CEO, if you're used to communicating and then stuff happens, when you communicate, it goes down a layer, it goes down another layer, and suddenly your message gets mercury, right? So, it's not what you say is not what people at the bottom of the organization hear. So, learning to communicate through multiple layers is sort of the third step. And those for me that's the three biggest step that many clients are facing, and that's what I'm helping a lot of clients fix, right? But those are kind of some of the basic challenges that I see. And it aligns a little bit with the framework you were talking about in our book, actually, um, the sort of military framework. Do you want to elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, like with regards to scaling, the desert period of having 8 to 25 staff was always the hard part. And that's actually now what I'm looking at from an investment standpoint. I'm looking at businesses that are too small to be big, but too big to be small. And that kind of area that seems to be, and this is what kind of what you always drilled into me was the core, like one of the main reasons why things start breaking. And it's tough because then at that point you then CEO or the founder needs to let go and have the like middle management kind of systems put into place. But coming to your three phases, right? So going on to phase one, founder struggles to let go, doesn't want to delegate, is a perfectionist, he can do it better than everybody else. How do you, as part of your management consultancy and coaching, how do you try to get that out of people? Because I always see, I don't do the management coaching like you do, but I always see one of the main issues is the founder's the problem. He's the bottleneck. And how do you manage to try and refocus his attention to be, listen, you need to, for the health of the business, you need to let go.
Yeah, so actually, my experience is slightly different. My experience is not that people don't want to let go, they just don't have the right mindset or they don't know how to, right? Like, so obviously, there's some of those people who don't want to let go, but fundamentally, they don't realize that they're holding the business back. Right. So what happens is that most of these small entrepreneurs still have individual contributor mindset. So their mindset is still, I was successful, I did SEO, I did this, and therefore I succeed. So they're attributing their success to what they have been doing, which is why they keep doing what they have been doing. They don't realize that their success is actually despite of what they're doing, not because of it. Right. So the first step is really changing the mindset. And the way I go around that is it's talking a lot about the mindset, right? So I see a business as a pyramid. In the beginning, it's a small pyramid, one or two people, and then it kind of grows. And the way you grow a company is very simple. You make each stone in the pyramid more valuable. So if you as a founder keep doing the same stuff over and over and over again, you're not helping increase the value of the business, right? So the core mindset and the core thought process is what can I let go of where I can do something more valuable. And reality is all entrepreneurs always have a million things they can't do, but they feel too busy. And here's the thing, like even when it comes to client delivery, let's say you're running an SEO agency, right? And let's say you're afraid of losing a client if things are not perfect. So therefore you spend umptious amount of time double checking everything. Now here's the thing, if you stop doing that completely, and let's say you lost one or two clients, but your focus and what you were working on instead was way more valuable than those one or two clients, right? That is how you must think about business. If you ever look at successful entrepreneurs, the fear is not losing a customer. Every one of us are where we are today because someone gave us an opportunity and they trusted us.
So on that then, with regards to scaling staff, obviously you've got like a management consultancy kind of set up. When do you think is the right time for a business owner to come along? They're looking to scale staff out. They're not certain what type of staff's needed. They're not certain how to recruit. Like, at what point does someone go, I need a Mads Singers to come along and tell me what's needed? Like, 'cause obviously you've got different sizes. They've got the three phases. Have they got to wait until they're struggling, or is that too late? And it's almost like reactive from being proactive. Like, what in your measures do you think is the best way?
It all depends on how fast you want to grow, right? And obviously from a company standpoint, it's also a resource question. Because again, like let's say you're doing personal training, right? If you hire a personal trainer from day one, you're gonna learn and grow faster, right? No doubt. Um, but again, it's gonna cost you more money, right? So depending on where your business are, most businesses either struggle with time or with resources. So the benefit, and you're one of the people I know that are best at this, is taking and investing and saying, hey, we're making some money. Let's invest in bringing in this expert and learning from them, right? Because fundamentally, like if you don't have a grand in the bank, if you want to go and spend 2 or 3 grand hiring a consultant, um, you know, that might hurt you, right? So you obviously need to make the money and the resources first, right? So typically what I recommend for someone like me, I recommend that you have a little bit experience managing people. So if it's 1 or 2 or 3 people, but at least you have tried it a little bit, because if you haven't tried it, you don't know some of the challenges that come with it. So you often get a little bit faster value when you have actually tried managing already, right? Recruitment is one of the big things. And for most business, honestly, this is success or failure. But this is one of the things that I tell business owners, you gotta learn to recruit. Because in business, there's literally, I don't believe there's any other skill that is more important than bringing the right people in around you, right? And that doesn't matter if it's partnership or employees or whatever, but learning to identify great people is so critical, right? Like I would not be where I am today if I did not have a very good set of eyes when it comes to that. Now, the problem many people have is they hire 1 or 2 people, then they come to me and they say, "Oh, I suck at hiring." And I'm like, "How many have you hired?" 2 people. I'm like, "What process did you go through?" "Oh, I just had lunch with them and then I hired them and they turned out to be shit." Right? And you're like, well, hiring, like management, is a skill, right? So the first time I wanted to go hire people, I sat down and I learned, right? So I was in the corporate world at the time, and I was in a management position and I had to hire people. So I went out, I found some resources, I found some colleagues that I could talk with, then say, hey, how do I decrease the risk of fucking this up? And here's the thing, whenever you're dealing with humans, sometimes shit fucks up, right? Like I would say I'm very good at picking good people, and I'm probably right 8 out of 10 times, right? Because at the end of the day, you're dealing with humans, and sometimes humans are just humans. And I've tried it all. I've hired someone, and 2 days later, the wife passed away, and they wanted to move back home, and stuff like that, right? Like stuff happens when you're dealing with people, but it's a skill. So investing in learning it, investing in testing it out, and honestly, if it's your first time hiring, going interview 40 or 50 people. Yes, it takes a long time, but it's way easier to compare if you have something to compare against. If you go and interview three people, you hire the best one. Like you don't know the market, you don't know what's there, you don't know the opportunities, right? So
Yeah.
that's generally my focus.
So with regards to that, obviously the topic of the video here is about scaling staff and the difficulties that people seem to have as a business owner or as an entrepreneur. There you spoke about humans. So at what point now we're living in an AI world, does someone start to decide as a business owner whether we can start using AI employees, AI agents? If someone's uncertain about this and there's a little bit of unrest, I know with certain business owners, can they speak to yourself with regards to management consultancy and as a management coach to then decide certain roles could we be using AI agents and AI employees to scale out certain tasks?
Yeah, it definitely can, right? I think generally, so particularly in the internet space, so when you're looking at SEO businesses or e-commerce business and so on, right? People have a much better take on AI than in many traditional businesses, right? So they're even if you feel you're behind the curve, you're probably not, right? You might be behind some of your colleagues, but you're not behind the curve. So what I would say from my personal point of view is that um, one, it's a balancing act. So again, as a person, if you have just yourself in the business, like if you need to learn AI, if you need to learn to set up robots, if you need to learn to do stuff, that takes a lot of time and effort, right? So even in our companies, I mean, we often hire specialists to come in and build out automations or build out workflows and so on, right? We could probably do it ourselves, and we have some people in house that are building out sort of process execution and stuff. But again, it often slows growth down if you don't know how to do it, right? So I generally start out with humans, and what I tell most people, when you're trying to automate a process that you're not yet doing, you're most likely gonna fail. Like the amount of people who is like, oh, we've never done social media, let's automate it. Like, hey, it's gonna fail because you don't know what good output look like, right? So you're fundamentally gonna try and push out stuff, but you have no idea what success is, right? And it's the same in the business, right? So what the two things I focus on personally with automation is automate things that are actually getting done, where you know what the output and what a good output looks like, and that you see that there's opportunity, like it's a recurring thing, it's automatable and so on, right? I think too many people try and automate a lot of stuff and spend so much time and effort doing it because they're afraid of working with people or they're afraid of having to manage people. And reality is that just slows you down. Can you succeed like that? For sure. But like you and me, the goal is to make more money faster, right? And in most cases, yes, automation is great, but automate stuff that's getting done. And when you have someone doing it, right? When you have someone who is very good at doing a certain process, they're great at explaining to some expert how to do it, right? So they can help getting it done, right? Whereas you, as a business owner, if you're trying to automate everything in your business from day one, like it's probably going to take a significant amount of time for you to get anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. So if anyone is a business owner and you are struggling to scale staff, Mads, how can people get hold of yourself? What's the best way to reach out and contact you?
Madsingers.com or generally just Matt Singers on any social media. I'm still the only human in the world with that name, so easy to find.
Because you're a madman. Anyone who's watching this, business owners, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what your main concerns and problems are. We'd love to get back to you. Head on over to madsingers.com and he should be able to help you with management consultancy or coaching and being able to get that mindset to be able to take the business on to the next level. Appreciate having you, Mads. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.